People's Assembly is a national movement that was set up about 4 years ago, resisting all the cuts to our public services. And we are the Dorset branch of that. We meet regularly. We meet once a month down in Bournemouth at the Mad Cucumber. We're an umbrella organisation. We're really there to help support other campaign groups, bring all the groups together and try and build a big people's movement to demand that our public services are fully funded and publicly provided. We're obviously here on an NHS ticket this afternoon. And the People's Assemblies have been working closely with health campaigns together in the last few months. We organised the very big march in London that was on the 4th of March, where about 250,000 people came out, health campaigns together, People's Assemblies. We're non-party political. We don't get involved in party politics. We're actually about building a big people's movement, and so that we can start demanding the sort of society that we want to live in and try and create that political will for change. Now, going back to the NHS, the Health and Social Care Act that was brought in 2012 has been one of the most damaging bits of legislation for our health service that's been brought in. It removed the responsibility for the health of the British citizens from the Secretary of State for Health to NHS England and effectively the care commissioning groups, the CCGs. So we now find ourselves in a situation where we have a commissioning body that's unelected and unaccountable, sourcing and commissioning all our health. So I find myself in the position of writing to my local MP and being very concerned about what's happening to our health services and basically just being referred to the CCG. So obviously I then write to him and say, you know, I pay my taxes to a central government and I choose, you know, and you're elected in every 5 years. You know, the whole point of living in a democracy is if we don't like what our MPs are doing, we have the opportunity to vote them out. But what's happening in the health service now is we now have an unelected and effectively unaccountable body commissioning those services, which is taxation without representation. So we have to demand that the NHS is reinstated, that responsibility goes back to the Secretary of State for Health. And while I'm talking about the Health and Social Care Act, that also brought in those external markets so that every commissioning group has a legal obligation to put all new contracts out to tender. Well, with the People's Assembly and Keep Our NHS Public and health campaigns together, we all demand a publicly funded, publicly provided and publicly accountable NHS and social care services. So we must back the NHS reinstatement bill. I no longer want to pay taxes either to my central government or to the local authority for that to just pass through them and go out to private firms that obviously, just because they're private, they want to make a profit, they want to pay their shareholders, etc., etc. We demand the NHS be reinstated. On a broader note, as I say, we don't get involved in party politics, but we can't pretend there isn't an election coming up. And I think one of the things we also have to do is demand electoral reform. Until we have PR, we won't actually be properly represented. You know, we live in an area, you know, where really a lot of our votes just don't count. And I actually want to participate in our democracy. So until we actually push for PR and demand PR, nothing is actually going to change. And then on a broader note, you know, we've got lots of different groups here today. And we're all fighting our own corner. We've come together today because we all want to demand an NHS that's freely available to all, available without prejudice. But I think we need to get back to this idea of an injury to one is an injury to all. I am because you are. Everything we do, you know, about how we care for other people, where we source our food from, how we treat the environment, it affects everybody else, not just locally or nationally, but globally. And I think we have to stop going into our own little divisions, and we have to come together as one big group, as an association of people, to say that we demand good quality health and social care, good quality housing, no exploitation at work, green economy. There's so many things. So do please join us at the People's Assemblies. We meet regularly to talk about all these issues, about the demands we want to make on our government, because remember, they work for us. Thanks very much.
Thank you ever so much, Sheila. Thank you.